We just have a collection of, all of our videos, and it's like, find when you hear the Android noise.
Okay, we're live. What's up, guys? It's Chuck and Max back at it again. Today's topic is overtraining,
AKA staleness syndrome, and the other one, burnout. So all of them are the same.
And thank you to those. This is actually a topic that one of you submitted, so we thought this was a great way to explain some of these things that athletes face on a daily basis.
So what is a good way to go about the staleness syndrome?
Well, what is staleness syndrome? Is that the same as overtraining, or is that something different?
I think it's the same as overtraining. It's where you do the same stuff over and over, and you just push your body to an extreme limit, and your mental game goes down as well, to where your body's not making the adaptations you need to get to the next level. And there needs to be some steps that you take going backwards. And usually it's because you're not resting, eating, sleeping enough to let your body recover the way that it should for your next exercise. I believe. What would you feel that staleness syndrome or overtraining is?
I think it has a lot to do with what the activity that you're doing. I would say for me, inside the pool, if you're a runner on the track, what your main activity is. So I'd say a lot of it has to do with the recursiveness of that main activity and kind of the boredom that sets in when you're looking at a black line on the bottom of a pool for 3 to 5 hours a day. I think it has a lot, more so than the auxiliary activities. I think it's kind of your main core activity that can lead to that.
If you do it over and over, yeah.
Yeah, and that training program around it. Not to downplay the things that happen outside of the pool or outside of your...
The resting and the eating.
Yeah, because those are important, but to me, the main core thing is that training structure, which is something, to bring it back to what we're working on here, something that's really key to optimal training is what is that training structure on a daily basis or over the course of a month or, your periodization.
And the buy box allows you to... it makes adaptations for the individual themselves so that they're not going to burn out, so they're not going to suffer what we have as athletes in the past. And going into the weight room itself, say, let's pick deadlifting, for example. You do it one day, and then you do it the next day, you do it the next day. Those muscles are not recovering the way that they need to. So it's important that you go to a squat, to a lunge, to an upper body activity. So there's so many motions and movements out there to help prevent overtraining that it's important to become aware and knowledgeable. Also invest in a program or a product that does it for you and you just follow along. So your personal example, you said you had one back in the pool.
Yeah, so I had experienced overtraining during high school. I was training with a wonderful coach, but really training as a distance swimmer while I was mainly a competitive sprinter. So I experienced some of that overtraining and that staleness that can occur. My coach was pretty old school at that time, so a lot of what we would do to solve that is just kind of push through it. So continue doing the same things you're doing, and eventually the staleness hopefully goes away. And in some kids it didn't, so you see people that just kind of give up on the sport.
Yeah. And their mental state too is like, oh my God, is this what it takes? It's like, oh my, I don't have what it takes to do it. But in fact, your body and your mind just needs a rest from the activities you're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're go-getters like Chuck and I, you feel that you may be missing out on something if you don't attend every hour, every practice. You want to be the best one. But once again, to avoid that overtraining and staleness syndrome, take a break, do something else, go on a hike, get in a body of water if you're not already in there for countless hours on end. For my clients as well, I think it's really important to have the switching up and to educate them on overtraining, in that it is important to rest necessary, to know more about the stimulus that's put onto your body and how to avoid those. That was another talking point that we were mentioning. Oh, yeah, micro, macro. Let's talk about somebody that had just joined the gym and they haven't exercised for X amount of months. If they go in like a bull in a china shop and work as hard as they can, they might feel really good about what they did, but they can overtrain their muscles too, especially if they're going from a very sedentary lifestyle to that. But even as athletes, say you have been in the gym for quite some time and you're feeling good. If you do a new exercise or stimulus that you're not used to very much, and you do a lot of it right then and there, you probably will overtrain that specific muscle. For example, CrossFit, I mean, GHD sit-ups, they're called glute ham developers, but you flip the individual upside down, and then you're now stretching out your core and your abdominals, and then you thrust it forward, and you know, it was amazing. I'm like, hell yeah, I want to get a six-pack, I want to get strong. I did 20 reps and I couldn't walk for like 2 weeks. And there's actually articles out there that talk about like, you know, that and the rupture, rhabdo, you know, things to avoid is rhabdo, and that's like you're peeing blood because your kidneys can't function properly.
Oh my god. That's probably a DoorDash.
Oh, it's DoorDash?
Yeah. We'll interrupt this to thank one of our sponsors.
Yes. On a serious note, overtraining is real. It happened to all of us, and you're not the only one out there. If you feel that you're doing the best that you can and you're trying your hardest, but you're not seeing any growth or gains, take a step back, rest a little bit, reconsider the plan that you're on, and make sure it makes sense on developing your goals.
Or just keep pushing through it like a bull in a china shop.
Bull in a china shop. Yeah, keep pushing through it. There is something to be said with that too, though. But I think, I don't know how else to say it, but don't be a wimp. Don't stop because the burning is right there and it's happening.
There's a difference between that and realizing that you're in the wrong training program.
And that you're in the wrong training program, yeah.